Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is the latest video for the Movie Nerds Club, a monthly series in which I join fellow YouTubers, mainly movies, Rachel Wagner, Ren Geekness, and Ryan Cam, as we share a new top 5 list each and every month. And this month, we are discussing female-led action films. So in celebration of Wonder Woman 1984 finally getting a concrete release here in December, we decided to go ahead and talk about our favorite action films with a strong female in our lead. And wow, this was such a difficult category for me. At the end of the day, deciding what is an action film, what isn't an action film, is she really the lead or is she just a strong supporting character? All of it turned out to be so difficult. And then, after I came up with the list, narrowing it down to only 5, it all turned out to be so difficult. But we mostly did it because, of course, I've got some honorable mentions. Before we hit that top 5, here are those films that just barely missed the cut. Spy is one of the cases that really spoofs a genre while creating a really fun film within that genre. This time, the spy action film. Melissa McCarthy's fantastic. It missed out on the list because it's more of a comedy overall, but the action certainly is a lot of fun. Salt was one of many Angelina Jolie action vehicles over the past 2 decades, and this one was a whole lot of fun. Spy, espionage, action, thrills, all packed in to this interesting, badass little film. Underworld mixed action with gothic style horror, and I loved it. Vampires versus werewolves, an age-old tale that was reinvigorated and brought to life with Kate Beckinsale melting my heart, but also kicking ass along the way. The sequels, well, better left unsaid, but at least the first Underworld is a hell of a good time. V for Vendetta provides thought-provoking philosophy to hold up the more action-oriented sequences. With stellar performances from both of our 2 leads, Natalie Portman goes full G.I. Jane in this one, shaving her head for her craft. This only missed out on my top 5 because I view it a little bit more as a philosophical drama with action moments than a true action film in and of itself, but certainly V for Vendetta needed some recognition. And finally, just missing out on my top 5, I have The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, the second of this monster dystopian YA franchise. Catching Fire ups all of the action elements from the first Hunger Games, gives us bigger, more exciting moments, a larger budget, more depth and complexity to the script, all bolstered by a stellar lead performance in Jennifer Lawrence. Now that all of that's out of the way, let's get into number 5. So coming in at number 5 on my list, I have Birds of Prey. Yes, a 2020 action film making the cut. I adore Birds of Prey. I'm a female director with a mostly female cast, and they're all badasses. Margot Robbie continues to be stellar in the role of Harley Quinn, but what really sets this film apart and cemented its place in this top 5 for me personally, well, it's the action. Thanks to work from a choreographer on the John Wick films, the action in this movie look stunning. Plus, we have Margot Robbie doing so many of her own stunts, and it shows. These hyper-stylized, super adrenaline-filled, inventive action set pieces throughout this film. We go from fun houses to cocaine-filled romps in the jailhouse. Birds of Prey perfectly encapsulates what you're looking for in a great female-led action film. At number 4, I have Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Well, I have to admit, Rogue One was very close to taking this spot on the list. Ultimately, I sided with The Force Awakens because I think this film particularly is the most action-packed film in all of Star Wars. We have all the types of action you're hoping for in a good Star Wars film. We have lightsaber fights, we have big shootouts and these huge set pieces, we have chase scenes through space, good versus evil, everything is here. Old favorites returned with an endearing new lead character in Rey, as well as Finn and Poe and BB-8 to round out our team. The Force Awakens is easily my favorite in the sequel trilogy and definitely provided one of my favorite female-led action films of the past decade. Coming in at number 3, I have Aliens. How in the world could I do this list without including Ripley? Now, arguably, Alien itself could have been in this spot as well. However, I chose the sequel because it's a bit more of a pure action film. Just straight balls to the wall action insanity. Ripley returns to once again have to fight through a bunch of red tape BS to get down to the bottom of what's going on here and save everybody's asses as the xenomorphs come through. This time though, it's Mama v Mama, and we have the showdown of showdowns with Ripley versus the Queen, resulting in one of the most iconic lines of all time. We do still have a lot of tense moments, some gross moments, and the xenomorphs are out in full-fledged. Particularly for the time it was released, Ripley set a beautiful example of what a leading performance from a female in an action film should look like. She was strong, she was vulnerable, she showed emotion, but at the end of the day, she did what she had to do to get the job done. Ripley is an action icon, whether male or female, and there was no way I was leaving Aliens off of this list. So now my top 2 was definitely a struggle between 2 films that debuted over the past decade. But coming in at number 2, I have Mad Max Fury Road. Now, I have to admit, the only reason Mad Max Fury Road is not number 1 on this list is because I think it's really towing a fine line on whether it's truly a female-led action film. Mad Max is the marquee on the actual title. However, once you actually watch Mad Max Fury Road, it's Furiosa who is the center of this film. It's Furiosa who gets all of the development and actually has a character story arc. You couple that with the highly feminist charged themes of the film itself, and I think it deserves to be counted as a female-led action classic. Furiosa is one of the most fascinating characters in any female-led action film. Yes, she's strong, yes, she's badass, and yes, she's oftentimes very stoic, but she has so much going on under that. She doesn't just come in and whoop everybody's ass. She has to fight, and she has to fight hard in this film for everything she gets. A fashion icon with that black paint, that metal hand, Furiosa kicked Mad Max himself to the backseat of his own franchise to take control over, arguably, the single best action film of all time. Amongst all of these in my top 5, there is no better pure action movie than Mad Max Fury Road. From start to finish, we hit that gas and we pretty much never stop. Inventive, intelligent, and completely insane, it delivered everything I wanted from a Mad Max film, and then some as we added in these added dimensions. When we're talking about heroines in action films, I don't think they get much better than Furiosa. So if I didn't have that one hiccup in qualification, this would have been my number 1 pick. However, ultimately, I decided at number 1 for my favorite female-led action film, I have Wonder Woman. Who would have guessed what my number 1 might be? Well, she got the edge because she's the marquee, she's the name on the title, and she is undisputedly the lead of the film. Wonder Woman gave me everything I wanted from a hero origin story, from a superhero movie, and from a female-led action film. Diana Prince is such an interesting character as we work throughout the story. She's naive, she seems so innocent, she presents very feminine overall, but don't let any of that fool you as she'll kick your ass in a minute. As we would have a goddess do. She has this really heartfelt love story, this beautiful introduction to humanity that leads to a really heartfelt and interesting dilemma for her as a character, learning to grapple with the complexities of humanity. Not to mention, everything that happens on Themyscira is amazing. Talk about female-led action heaven. That is Themyscira. The fighting styles, the costumes, the women, all of it is so amazing. And those action set pieces on Themyscira are top tier. Yeah, I get a little CGI heavy, but guess what? I don't really care. At the end of the day, Wonder Woman delivered on everything I wanted. It moved me to my core, it inspired me, and delivered the Wonder Woman film I've been literally waiting my entire life to see. It's wonderful, it's beautiful, and to date, I think it is still the pinnacle for female-led action films. Remember, this is just my personal ranking, my personal list. I cannot wait to hear your lists and your rankings in the comment section down below. And remember, I did really struggle defining what a female-led action film was. That's why you're not seeing the Terminator franchise at large show up on this list, as well as a lot of other films that had amazing, badass women. My heart, they just didn't feel like truly female-led action films. But of course, now that you have seen my top 5 female-led action films, make sure that you head on over to Rachel Wagner, Mainly Movies, Ren Geekness, and Ryan Cam's channels and check out their top 5 female-led action films. All of those video links are in the description below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!